Step 1. Decide you want to learn hacking. You can decide this for multiple reasons. Maybe you saw Mr. Robot and thought, that looks cool. Maybe you want to make money from bug bounties. Maybe you have genuine interest in cybersecurity. Or maybe you saw a TikTok of some 17-year-old finding critical vulnerability worth $10,000 and thought, I could do that. Step 2. Realize you cannot do that. What you need to understand is that kid has been hacking since they were 12. It's not fair to compare yourself to these prodigies. And if it makes you feel better, they have 10,000 hours of free time and you got 30 minutes a day. So makes sense they'd be so good. That's fine. Just means you need to work smarter, not harder. Step 3. You acquire Kali Linux. Either you download VirtualBox and install Kali as VM, or you dual boot it, or you're brave and wipe Windows entirely. Now, a rational person would just use the VM for $200 worth of hardware you already own. But you might not be a rational person, and Reddit is going to convince you that you need dedicated hacking laptop with 32 GB of RAM, and you haven't even learned what nmap does yet. But you got Kali now. Next step is realizing the physical toll that hacking has on your sleep schedule. No one tells you that in your first month or even first few months, you're literally going to be up until 4 a.m. reading documentation, and no one prepares you for when you start dreaming in terminal commands. Yes, be warned, your brain will literally process bash syntax while you sleep. Best part is, even years later, after hacking for a long time, you can still lose an entire weekend to one hack the box machine if you get stuck. I remember a few weeks into learning, and my roommate saw my browser history, just pages and pages of how to escalate privileges, Linux. He thought I was planning something illegal, but it's okay, because you're building mental calluses. Over time, your problem solving is going to strengthen, which is great for hacking, but you might lose ability to watch movies without analyzing their terrible security practices. Next up, the three-way handshake. You've learned what IP addresses are, you know ports exist, you understand protocols theoretically, but eventually you'll encounter a concept of TCP three-way handshake. And this is when you know you've hit a pivotal moment in your hacking journey, because this is where 50% of people quit because they can't visualize SYN-ACK. It's going to sound abstract and the packet captures won't make sense. That's totally normal. It's going to take a few months to really click. For meantime, you can just accept it works and move on. And as a tip for understanding networking, try using Wireshark to actually see the packets instead of reading about them theoretically. That way you have a visual reference and it makes way more sense. After a few months of YouTube tutorials, you're going to get bored of running nmap scans on your own network, and you're going to discover Metasploit. You're probably going to get Kali Linux with all the pre-installed tools, and you're going to feel so cool, because you know what? It is cool. Metasploit is like best introduction to exploitation when you're starting. They even got modules for everything. They have the auto pawn scripts. But anyways, you start messing around with Metasploit and attempting exploits you are not ready for. Then you realize you have no idea what payloads are, or handlers, or sessions. I wouldn't even call it hacking, but you try it anyway by just running exploit modules without understanding what they do. Thing is, you think Metasploit would be easier because it's automated, but you are wrong. Because with manual exploitation, if you mess up, you learn why. But with Metasploit, everything's abstracted, and if exploit fails, you have no idea if it's target patched, or you misconfigured something, or the exploit is broken. So for next 6 months, you watch a bunch of videos of people getting root shells, and you slowly realize how difficult learning hacking really is, and how much time you're going to invest just to get 10% of their ability. At this point, you have two different roads. You can either realize it's going to take another 3 years just to find your first critical vulnerability and give up right now, or come to terms with the fact that you kind of suck right now, but you want to keep going because you've also invested a lot of time into this, so you decide to keep going. You keep working at it, maybe take a few breaks here and there, but ultimately you always come back to the terminal. This is probably the time you witness your first real vulnerability discovery. So you go get your burp suite and you learn how to intercept HTTP requests. Very empowering moment. Honestly, not super hard, but you're going to pull up the same YouTube video every time you need to configure proxy settings because you always forget which port it uses. Anyways, one day you get tired of all the network stuff, all the port scanning, and you watch a video of someone finding SQL injection. That got you thinking, how cool would it be if I could find web vulnerabilities? So you go to Portswigger Academy and start learning web security. Next step, realize that web hacking is hardest one of all. What is this CSRF nonsense? And why are there 12 different types of XSS? But you get used to it, and then you decide to become real hacker. You start learning how to read burp suite traffic, and suddenly you suck at hacking again. Takes like 30 minutes to find one parameter to test now. Next up is if you've already gone down web hacking path, you might as well try bug bounties. This is very slippery slope. You'll submit one report and suddenly you're down 3-hour rabbit hole reading every HackerOne disclosure. Gets weird. Suddenly there's business logic bugs. Like before this, you thought rate limiting was common sense, but apparently companies forget it exists. From now on, you'll be testing every single input field you see. But anyways, you'll find IDOR vulnerability, and that's a very common bug. And you know what? After some time testing, it actually pays out. You're starting to get hang of finding real vulnerabilities. Then you'll probably start documenting your methodology so you can replicate success. And then you realize you still kinda suck, but just a little bit less. Okay, next up. You're deep into this now, and you need to pick a specialty. Out of corner of your eye, you spot most interesting field. Maybe it's cloud security. Maybe it's malware analysis. Maybe it's network pen testing. At this point, you can do one of two things. You either go into classic corporate pen testing route and you learn Active Directory exploitation for real this time, or you descend into really niche areas like hardware hacking or car security research. You probably saw a video about this on YouTube and got hooked. Next step, time to touch some grass. You're finally good enough to do some work in front of actual clients. Maybe you do freelance pen tests for a local business, or you land bug bounty with decent payout. You do the assessment and it goes fine, but you'll dwell on that one vulnerability you miss for a long time afterwards. But literally no one cares. Like, no one cares. Next up, another tool. Trying to justify downloading another framework is getting harder at this point. But it's okay because you were meaning to get into mobile security anyways, and your current setup doesn't have Frida installed, and you can't use Burp Suite for mobile because that's for web apps, and you want to test like actual Android applications. So you get Android Studio, and you spend 10 hours configuring emulator, and you get debugging tools, and you learn about APK decompilation, which you'll use all the time, which is why you need all these tools. Then you go into phase where you're learning really hard reverse engineering. Sometimes they don't even have tutorials for specific malware samples you want to analyze, so you have to read assembly at like slowest speed possible, and it's most frustrating experience ever. It's so hard to make out what function does. But you know what? That's character development. Also, somewhere throughout this process, you try to automate your reconnaissance. But no matter how hard you try, you cannot get workflow exactly right. Like you can make a script that finds subdomains, but deep down, you know you're not doing it efficiently as you could. Next up, you learn Python properly and start messing around with the magical world of tool development because you want custom scripts. Let's be real, it's 2026, and in this economy, we cannot be manually running same commands forever. So you write automation script and spend like 10 hours debugging it until you forgot why you even started coding in first place. Next up, you make hacking blog or YouTube channel. You've been hacking for many years now and finally feel like you're good enough to share knowledge online. Maybe you make write-ups or tutorials, but at this point, you can comfortably say you've been able to successfully learn hacking. This was a long journey, definitely not easy, but now you can find vulnerabilities and get paid, and I think that's all that really matters. So congratulations on surviving great hacking learning curve. You were able to surpass 90% of people who gave up trying to learn this. To all people just starting hacking right now, this is perfect time to start learning. 2026 is the year we're all going to lock in. There's tons of free resources online to help you along the way. And you know what? Maybe by end of the year, we'll be finding bugs better than those 17-year-olds on TikTok. Now, hold on though. There was one alternate route we could have taken in the beginning, and that is to learn programming first instead of jumping straight into hacking. But that's a different video. I'll let Codehead do that. Go subscribe to my boy. Before I end this, one last thing, because you just saw how messy this whole learning journey can be. All those tutorials that went nowhere, dead discords, tools I had no idea how to use, and Reddit threads that made me more confused than before? Yeah, that's exactly how I learned. At some point, I started organizing the stuff that actually helped, the order I wish I learned things in, labs that actually make you think instead of copy-paste, and concepts that finally clicked after weeks of banging my head. All of that lives in CyberFlow's Academy, my private community. I even made a video walkthrough on the website showing everything inside, so you can see what it's really like. If that sounds useful, check it out. Alright, that's it for me. See you in the next video.